The right place for your money is your hands. So why are you putting it into the fire? With this n8n workflow today, we are going to help you solve a real problem for your business or for your client. And this video is for anyone who has a website. Downtime will destroy your website. Are you ready to save the day? Well, let's get started right now. As always, we like to get started with a demo, but before we show that demo off, let's just give you a brief overview of how the flow will operate. And just as a little added bonus, if you stick around, we're going to level up this flow with a couple extra add-ins, which will really take this flow to the next level for you. But you got to stick around till the end of the video to see that. But what this flow is going to do and what makes it so effective in combating website downtime is the flow has a number of different capabilities. So it is going to get a list of websites that we input, and then it's going to ping each of those websites. So if the website is not down, it'll come to the success part of this node, meaning nothing will happen. But if there is an error, then as you can see, a whole bunch of things are going to happen. So we are going to create a number of tasks in ClickUp and Asana. We're going to message the client to let them know that we see the website is down. We're also going to get an alert through Telegram. And then we are also going to get a phone call from Twilio. And that is like just an emergency notification for us. And you can see over here, I have a Teams node and a Slack node. I didn't connect those, but it's just to show you that you could easily connect those nodes right here if you use Slack or Teams. Very common for businesses. But the Telegram trigger will work well for our purposes. And you'll see that these will come across on the screen. So let's run this and you'll see it's all going to happen very fast, but then we'll break it down after it happens. So we'll click test workflow. It's going to ping those sites and it's creating, there's our alert. And here's our call from Twilio. So let's accept it.
Telegram. A website is down.
You could hear that it said emergency, a website is down. So pretty cool that Twilio can do that for us. But that is the flow in a nutshell. And what makes this flow so powerful is that when it is hosted on n8n Cloud or self-hosted, all you have to do is click this to active, and all the websites that are listed here will they'll be constantly monitored. And this will check every 5 minutes for the website outages. So just a pretty useful tool. Uh, And before we move forward, we'll also go show you ClickUp and Asana, and then the message that came through to Gmail as well, of course. So here we are in ClickUp, and you can see it added a task to our project in our workspace, website down, and this is the name of the website. And now we'll head over to Asana. We can see over in Asana, a similar thing, website down, and then the name of the website that is not functioning. And then we'll go over to Gmail. And here we are in Gmail. This would be the inbox of our client, which is simulated for this, but you can see it passed along an email from our email that we were using as well, saying, hello, John, that's the name of the client. And the website is down. We are aware and investigating. Wonderful. That's perfect. It's everything that we wanted it to do. And we'll head back over to the n8n workspace now. And so the next step is going to be building this flow from the ground up. And so to do that, we're going to hop into a new n8n instance that is separate from this, just to create a similar feel as if you are setting this up as a first time user. We'll walk you through all the steps and we'll get started with that right now. So if you've never gotten started in n8n, you're going to have to go to n8n.io and then click on Get Started. For everyone else, you can just sign in and we'll see you on the canvas. And so once you go through the sign in prompts, you'll land on a page that looks like this. You can sign up for the free trial. That is perfect. And the first thing that we are going to do is the least fun part. We are going to set up all of the necessary integrations. So to do that, we're going to come over to this drop down menu here and click on Create Credentials. So we're going to be creating a bunch of credentials right now. Some are easier, some are more difficult, but we'll click on that. And the first credential that we are going to set up is going to be for Asana. So you can just type in here, Asana, and you can choose Asana OAuth 2 API and click Continue. This is going to be a pretty straightforward connection. All you have to do is click Connect My Account, and that will set you up with Asana. So if you just click on Connect, this window will pop up, and then you can sign in with Google through your Asana account, and you can get started. And if you don't use Asana, that's totally okay. You can skip that as well. Next, we're going to be connecting another credential, same procedure. Come over here, click Create Credential, and this time we're going to be connecting ClickUp. So choose ClickUp and then ClickUp OAuth 2 API. Click Continue. ClickUp is going to be a similar process. You're just going to click Connect My Account. It's a pretty straightforward API. This will pop up, this OAuth 2 window, and all you need to do is click Sign in with Google or enter your credentials and then log in and go through the processes. Make sure that you give ClickUp permissions to make edits. And we can close that when we're done, and we'll move on to our next credential. So the next credential we're going to handle is Gmail. So we'll click on Create Credential. We'll type in Gmail, Gmail OAuth 2 API, and click Continue. And before we sign in with Google, we're going to need to go into the Google Cloud Console in order to make these APIs run correctly. So we're going to do that. We're going to need to do that for Gmail, and we're also going to enable it for Google Sheets as well. So you'll need to navigate to console.cloud.google.com. Sign in if you don't see this landing page here. But once you get to here, the first thing you need to do is create a new project. So you're going to come over here and click Project, New Project, and just create a new project. I'm not going to, but once you put in a project name, you will be ready to go. It'll take you back to this page. Just make sure you come up here and click Project and then select the project that you want to choose. Then what you need to do is you need to go to this search bar and type in Gmail, and then wait for Gmail API to pop up, click on it, and then you have to make sure you come here and you click Enable. And then once you click Enable, the next step is to go and do the same thing for Google Sheets. So come up here, type in Google Sheets. That'll come up, Google Sheets API, and then you're going to click Enable. And once that is enabled, there's one more step we have to do. And that last step is to create a credential. So come here and click Credentials. We're going to click Create Credential. We're going to make an API key. It will have created an API key for you here. Just come and you can click Show Key and copy that key and put that away somewhere safe into a notepad or somewhere that is you're going to be able to access it later. And the last step that we need to do here before we head back to n8n is we need to configure the OAuth consent screen. So click configure consent screen and then click get started. And then you need to fill in your necessary information. Let's call this app name n8n app. For the user support email, you'll just choose your email. There should be only one. You can click next. That's the name of the test email. It'll only let you do external. You can click next. Contact information, just put in that same email that you put in above. And you can click next and then finish and continue and create. And we're almost done. We're going to come over to the Create OAuth client and click on that. And we need to choose the application type of web application. The name can be n8n, client ID is fine. And then under the authorized redirect URIs, you are going to navigate back to n8n and actually for this particular integration, we're not going to need this. So we can leave that off for now. We can actually leave the entire OAuth client ID off for now. So we'll just leave that be and we'll head back into n8n to make our connection. So click on sign in with Google and then make sure you choose your account and then make sure you give access to n8n. And that window will close out in a minute and you should see account connected. And then the next credential we need to create is for Google Sheets. So just type in Sheets and you'll choose the OAuth 2 API. Continue, and you're going to sign in with Google as well. Go through the same process that you did with Gmail. Continue, that will close itself out. And we can close out of that. And we are well on our way here. We just have a few more credentials to set up. We're going to set up Telegram right now. So just click create credential, Telegram API, continue. And then we need to go and create an access token for Telegram. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. We're going to head over to Telegram's web app. So when you come to web.telegram.org, you will see this screen and you'll need to download the Telegram app on your iPhone or Android in order to access this on your computer. So go ahead and download that. And once you do, you can point your camera at the screen, go to settings on Telegram, devices, link device, and you can link your device. Once you do that, you're going to see a screen that looks like this. Yours, of course, won't have any messages, but you can go up to search bar and you are going to search for BotFather. BotFather should pop up here. You can click on BotFather, and we need to send BotFather a message in order to create a new bot. So you're going to type /new bot, and then you can click on that or press enter. That is going to give you the option to create a new bot. You're going to just give the bot a name. You can call the name n8n bot, whatever you'd like, and then you need to give it a unique username. Make sure you give it something descriptive. Let's call it n8n bot, and it needs to end in bot as well. n8n Asana ClickUp monitor website bot. Very specific. That should not have been created yet. And great, there we go. So this is going to give me the token that I need to use this bot. I'm going to copy that. And then once I copy that, I also want to click on this link here, and I need to start my bot. That's going to give us access to this bot so that it can send us messages. So then I'm going to take that copied key and bring it back into n8n, but I'm going to go back to the other instance of n8n. Now that I'm here, drop in the access token and click save. And great, it was successful. And now that we have Telegram done, we are going to set up the Twilio node. So Twilio is probably going to be the most complicated of the nodes. This is an optional node as well, and Twilio will cost you a little bit of money if you would like to get a phone number. So to do the Twilio node, we are going to have to head over to Twilio's website. So now that we're at twilio.com, we can click start for free, and you are going to click the whole way through, set up the account, and I will meet you on the other side and show you what to do. And once you're logged into Twilio, you'll see a screen that looks something like this. You'll need to navigate over to phone numbers and then manage, and then you'll need to buy yourself a number if you don't have one. They are very inexpensive, so don't worry. Even if you just want to buy it for a month just to try this out, and you can cancel, it costs $1. So you go over there and click buy, choose a phone number that suits you. And then you need to go and retrieve a couple of pieces of information once you have your number active and you go through all the setup steps. So if you just go over to your active numbers, we'll choose this one. And the piece of information that is going to be most important here is this. And the pieces of information we actually need are going to be on our dashboard. So we'll head over to the dashboard. And so on the dashboard, if you scroll down to account info, you'll have your account secure ID and your auth token. You'll just want to copy both of those and then make sure you store them in a secure location. We're going to access them later in the tutorial. And so we are almost through the setting up the credentials. Again, this is the longest and most arduous part of the process, so hang in there. But we're going to add 2 more credentials just for good measure. One will be simple, the other will be a little more complicated if you've never done it before. So click on create another credential. And the credential we're going to add right now is for Excel, Microsoft Excel. And you can type in Excel and choose the OAuth 2 API. And you just need to connect to your account. You should be able to do that. And it should allow you to sign in if you have a Microsoft 365 account that is connected. And again, this Excel will only work for the cloud version of 365. It will not work if you just have Excel downloaded on your computer. So you can close that out. That is a simpler connection. The last connection that we are going to set up is for Supabase, which is a free and very comprehensive database. So you can type in Supabase API. The Supabase API is a little more complicated to set up, but we're going to go through that right now. So you're going to come to supabase.com and go over to sign in or start a project if you've never signed in before. That'll prompt you to sign up. You can sign in with your email or through Google. And once you do that, we'll show you what it looks like on the other side. Once you are in Supabase, it's going to prompt you to set up a new project with that new project button. We're just going to go ahead and click that. And we'll come in here, we'll give our project a name. You can name it something like n8n Simple Agent. Give it a strong password and make sure you save that password. You can also have the suggested password. You can use that. I'm not going to set up a project here since I already have one. Choose the region that is closest to you and then create project. It may take a minute or two for that to go through. And then once you've created that project, you should see a screen that looks something like this. you're going to come and hover over the left panel here, and then come to where it says project settings and click on that. And then you are going to click on where it says data API. Come over and click on data API. And there's two pieces of information we need. We need the URL here. We're going to copy that, and we're going to go back to n8n. I'm going to go to the other n8n. Here we are. And we're going to drop this into this n8n. And then in the service role secret, you're going to go back to Supabase, the other Supabase for me. You'll go back to the correct Supabase, and you'll click on reveal, and you will copy that key and just bring it back to n8n and paste it in here, and you can click save, and the connection should go through for you. I'm not going to keep this. We'll close it for now. Great. So with that, we are ready to get building. So let's get into it now. And to start, we will click on create workflow. And before we get started with the build here, I want to show you the little cheat code that you can do if you want to speed up this process significantly for yourself. You're just going to go over to our school community, which you can find in the description below. In our school, under the classroom section, and then under this website monitor automation, you can click on this and download the JSON file for this workflow. It will be in there, and then you can just bring it back into n8n. And all you need to do is click on these three dots and click on import from file. And after you've downloaded it, you can upload it into n8n from your downloads. That will significantly speed up your time in order to get this created. And for right now, we do have a free trial with the community. So for 7 days, you can go in and grab any workflows that you want, but we also have courses in there as well that you can benefit from. But the first step to get this started is to click on the add first step, and then we're going to add a schedule trigger node. Click on the schedule trigger node and then change the days to minutes, change the minutes to 5, and then go back to the canvas. And then the next thing we need to add in is the website list node. We're going to do this under the code node. And then under the code node, we can click on the node that's there. We're going to delete all of this code here. I'm going to replace it with some code that I have off screen, which you can copy down. And all this is going to do is it's going to return a URL and a client email for 2 websites that we will be checking. These are my websites, but you could input your client's websites and your client email here. And then we can go back to the canvas after that. And the next node that we are going to add in is the HTTP node that is going to ping the website. So just type in HTTP request, and we need to configure this. This is going to be a GET request, so you can leave that the same. And we need to change the settings on this. And instead of stop workflow, we're going to click continue using error output. And once we set that, we can go back to our parameters, and we can leave this be for now until we execute this previous node. We're going to do that in a minute. But we can leave the authentication as none, and that should be sufficient. So let's take a minute here and go back to the canvas, and we'll just execute this for the first time. Test workflow. and it's giving us an error. So to rectify the error, we're going to go into the HTTP request node, click into it. We're going to change it to expression. And we're going to put in 2 curly braces and then $JSON period URL. That won't be green yet because nothing's hooked up, but later on that will come through for us. We can even try to test it right now and it should work. And we can see it was one item was a success, one item was an error. You can see that it's a little difficult to see here. We have the error line, and then above it we have the success line. That means it ran correctly. And so the way that this works, if you remember from the beginning of the video, is we essentially create an if statement within the HTTP request node where if it is a success, then nothing will happen because the workflow is going to end right here on success. But if there's an error, we are going to have a number of things happen. And the first is going to be hooking up to Asana. Or we'll actually have this be ClickUp first. And we're going to create in ClickUp a task. So just scroll down to task, actions, create a task. And our credential should already be hooked up since we put that in. Task should be selected, create, and then you need to choose your team name or ID. These should be linked up to your ClickUp account. And then choose your space name or space ID. Folderless list you can leave. Choose the name, folder name, and then the list name. We'll choose project 2. And then for the name, you can say something like website down, and then 2 curly braces and $JSON.URL. And this is the same as if we just dragged in this URL from here. It'll give you the same value. You can see we can delete that for now since we don't need it. And our ClickUp node is complete. We'll space it out a little bit up here. And now we can add another node. We're going to have to do this from the plus tab over here. We are going to add in our Asana node. So type in Asana. And we are going to, in Asana, also create a task. Again, Asana and ClickUp are substitutes for one another. We included both of them depending on which one you prefer. Great, we have our Asana account hooked up from before. Task, create the workspace or name ID you will choose. And then you can type in the name of the task. We can say what we've been saying before, which is $JSON dot URL. And we'll also be able to grab that value when it comes in, but that is sufficient for now. And we can type in as well website down. And the JSON.URL is going to be the name of the website. We're going to disconnect this and then hook it up to our HTTP node. And the next step is to add the Gmail node. So we're going to add Gmail, type in Gmail into our search nodes. We can drag it out. And we're going to send a message. You can type it in up here as well. Send message. And we should have our Gmail selected. The message resource send, and then the to email or you would type in the name of your client or the account that you're going to be testing. This is our test account for this email, and the subject can be website update, email type, HTML, that's fine. And then the message, you could say something like this, copying this from off screen. That seems acceptable. And finally, if you wanted to change the name of the sender, you can copy this. Or I guess there's two things. You can click the sender name. You could send it from your name. And then also add option, the append n8n attribution. You can turn that off. You don't want that. That will send a little message that says sent from n8n. But by turning it off, it will not be there. All right, Gmail is now set up. We're going to disconnect it from here and connect it to our node like so. And our final two nodes are for Telegram. So we'll click in, type in Telegram, and we want to send a message. So we'll type send message, and we'll choose text message. We should have our Telegram account in already from setting up the credentials. The resource should be message, operation, send message, and then the chat ID. This is something that we can get right now. We're going to have to set up a separate node to get that. So before we do, let's just type in our text. I'm going to use this text, which is similar to what we've been using, website down. But this little piece of code here is going to put in the date time. Just a nice little feature. The reply markup we'll leave as none. And in order to get the chat ID, I'm going to show you what we have to do right now. We're going to head back to the canvas. And so the easiest way to get this is to just set up a Telegram chat trigger. So click on the plus node and then type in Telegram, press enter, and then we can scroll down to the triggers and we are going to choose on message. It should be already hooked up to our account, so we can just go to our Telegram platform. Let's make sure it's connected. It should be connected. We'll go back to the canvas here. Great, it's ready to go. And then just go to Telegram. And before going to Telegram, you just want to click Test Workflow. And since it's giving us an error, we're actually going to use another method of getting the chat ID. You can click on the chat trigger and delete it for now. We're still going to go to Telegram, so hop up into Telegram. So in Telegram, you can just go to the search bar and type in ID bot, and then choose this bot. You'll have to click start up in the corner here, and then just send it a message. You may not even need to do that, and it should reply with your ID. You can just copy this, and we're going to bring that back to n8n and drop it into our Telegram node, and there it is. Our chat ID is ready. We'll go back to the canvas, and we're going to move this to its own space. And the last thing we need to do is add an HTTP request node. This is the node we're going to use for Twilio because the Twilio node was not functioning for me properly. Perhaps it will work for you if you want to try it. but we're going to need to get our Twilio credentials that we didn't get before. So to connect Twilio, we're going to have to open up this HTTP request. We are going to leave that method as it is, or actually it's going to be a post method rather than a get. So change it to post, and then you need to copy this URL. I'm going to get it from off screen. You can also just type this into ChatGPT and say, get me the Twilio calls.json API endpoint. And you can see in here, in between these two forward slashes, in between calls.json and accounts, we have the SID, the account SID, or account security ID or secure ID. You're going to have to enter in your own secure ID here. This is the one for my account. You can leave the authentication the way it is. We will have to send headers though. So choose send headers. In the name, you're going to type in a lowercase a authorization. And then you're going to type in a capital B basic. And what we need to do now is convert your account secure ID, your account SID, and your tokens, your access token, into base 64. This is a little bit of a pain, but because the Twilio node isn't working, this is what we'll have to do. But don't worry, it is not too difficult. So what you can do in order to make this a little bit easier, or to make this possible rather, is you can go to base64encode.org. And what you're going to do is take your account SID. Let's just say this is your account SID. And then you're going to write a colon. And then you're going to type in your access token. Let's just say this is your access token. It's a random string of characters. Both will be a random string of characters. And then all you need to do is click encode. And what it'll do is give you a string that looks like this. Essentially what that is your username and password turned into base 64. So just copy that and then bring it back to your workflow. That is going to become your authorization. So that's great. And once you do that, we are going to move on to the next step of the workflow, which is to send the body of the HTTP request. And we're going to use the body content is going to be form URL encoded. We're going to use the fields below. On the name, we're going to write 2. For the value, you should type in your phone number with the country code. So if you're in the United States, you'd say +1, and then you'd say something like 222-333-4444. And then you're going to add another parameter. This is going to be the from parameter. And you want to make sure you type in your phone number here, or the phone number of whoever you want to receive this emergency call from. And the from is going to be from your Twilio number. So you're going to need to get your number from Twilio if you don't have it. That's the phone number you purchased. Or if you're not using this Twilio phone number node, you can just skip this step. I'm going to get mine from off screen. And once you have that number, you can just paste it in right here. And then we have to add one more parameter. And we're going to type in capital U, lowercase r, lowercase l. And the one step that we didn't do while we were in Twilio before, which we need to go back and do, is to set a call response or a call dialog for when we receive our phone call. So we should actually head back into Twilio briefly to go and take care of that. And back in Twilio, we can go to the jump to area and type in bins. And then we are going to create a Twilio markup language bin, twiml. And you can give it a name like n8n uptime monitor 2. And what you're going to put in for that particular encoding is this. And I'm pulling this from off screen. I'll just copy this and paste. So this is just code for Twilio. And you can see it's got the voice of Alice, and it's going to say, this is an emergency, check your Telegram. A website is down. Pretty simple. Just make sure you come down here and you create it. And then you're going to copy this URL, and we're going to bring that back to n8n. And we're going to copy it in down here. And with that, our Twilio node is complete. So we'll come down, and we have completed all our nodes for the first phase of our project. And you can just run it once to make sure that it runs correctly. And you can see we got all the reads here. And I've got an incoming phone call, which I'm going to decline. That's from Twilio. So it should have run correctly for you as well. Now let's go move on to the kind of next level step that we talked about. This is a little bit of the surprise. If you downloaded this from our school community classroom, you'll have seen the surprise already. This is what version 2 looks like. You can see it's a little more complicated. It's not too crazy. But let's go in and explain to you what is happening here and what we did. So essentially what we did is we removed the code node, and instead we added a Google Sheets, an Excel, and a Supabase node. This is going to be the place where we get our client email and client websites from. So I put in 3, Sheets, Excel, and Supabase, because different people like to use different databases. You could also put in an Airtable or any other database sheet that you could use as a backend for this. And then additionally, what we added is we added a wait node down here. And this got configured a little bit incorrectly. There shouldn't be a connection from this to this. We want to remove that for now. What we want is to have another Gmail node. It'll get put in there. We'll just copy that in to the workspace if it'll let us. Let's see if it'll let us. Maybe not. Oh, no, here it is. Got copied in the wrong place. We'll just drag that down. And what this is going to do, we'll hook it up to the success. What this is going to do, this little node, so this makes our code a little more dynamic, so we could pull in potentially 10, 20 websites pretty easily based off of a sheet that we have set up, and the relevant emails as well. This down here is going to send our workflow into a wait loop. And what it's going to be waiting for is it's going to wait for the website to be live again. So we sent the first email to our client letting them know, hey, the website's down. Essentially what's going to happen here is we've added another node, which is going to send our workflow into a wait loop. And this is scheduled for, right now, I think it's 30 minutes. No, it's 5 seconds just for testing, but you could set it to 30 minutes, an hour. And what that'll do is it'll keep the workflow running until the website goes live. And this loop will just keep on looping as long as the website has an error. And then when it has a success, which is anything that would be, a 200 code in HTTP requests, then it's going to send a message to our client saying, hey, the website's back up. We handled the issue. So that'll automate that for you as well, which is just another nice feature. So to set this up is really just a matter of adding these nodes into the workflow. But let's go ahead and do that, and we'll come back up to the original workflow and we will just add those in. So we're going to start by deleting this code node. So click on it and press delete, or you can right click on it and press delete. Either one will work. And in here, we're going to choose the Google Sheets node. So just type in Sheets. And we want to get rows. And we're going to choose our Google Sheets account, sheet within a document, get rows. You'll need to create a Google Sheet. I've already created one. It's called n8n Uptime Monitor. And it has 2 rows. One is called, I'll show you what it looks like. One is called client website. One is called client email. Very simple sheet. And from the list, you just need to choose the sheet. And then from there, all you need to do is just leave this be. You can test it. Well, let's go back to the canvas before we test. We'll move this up here. But yeah, you can test it just to see the output. And there's the output. And if you come over here and you click on table, it makes it a little more obvious. You can see it shows us the output that we have in the table. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add in the node for our Excel sheet. Again, we've configured this already. We can just come over here and press the plus and then type in Excel. And then in here, we can just type in the same thing, get rows, and click on it. And we'll need to have that online cloud account. As I mentioned before, you're welcome to get the free trial if you want to try this out. You can do that through 365 online, Microsoft 365. You will also need to create a sheet in Excel. So you'll have your account. The resource you're going to have is a sheet. The operation is going to be get rows. And then for list, it'll be, let's see, I'm going to choose this account. For this, you'll choose the sheet that you chose. I can show you what my sheet looks like. It is identical to the Google Sheets account. You can see it's just an Excel. Again, this is just for your benefit, depending on which of these systems you like to use. So an uptime monitor, and then choose the sheet as well. You have sheet number 1. And that's all you need to do. You can test the output and you'll see it's going to produce something very similar to this. It's doubling it because it's taking from this, but we're going to change that. We're going to disconnect these. We don't want them talking to each other. They are separate. And so we're just going to link this to our HTTP request. We can even unlink this for now, since we don't need it. And then the last is Supabase. So you can click the plus and then type in Supabase. We are going to get many rows. And then you just need to choose the correct credential. Under row, that's fine. You're going to get many. We need to change the project name. So you'll need to get your client details. And I can show you how to do this as well because we didn't set that up in Supabase. If you're not familiar with Supabase, I will show you how you can set the table up right now. So you can set this table up by going to the project that you're in and then going over to Table Editor and then just clicking Create New Table. Give your table a name. You could call it something like Client Details, like I did. I'm going to call it Client Details 2. And then you just want to choose a name for the table or for the columns. So the first one can be client website, and then you can put in, we're going to change this to text, and we'll put in a value later. You can have a created at if you want, and then you can add a column and say client's email. And this can also be text. And then once you're ready, or you want to move these around, you can hit save. And that's going to add your table, and then you can insert rows into your table. So you could add any website of your client and their email. I will leave that up to you. And we're going to go back to n8n. We have the client details table. And you can leave this at 50 and build manually, and any filter, that's fine. But let's grab Supabase. Let's disconnect it because it got mixed up. And we'll connect it to the HTTP request. Let's link this up to Excel just for now. And you can see this is an upgrade over our previous setup. It makes it a little more dynamic. You'll likely only have one of these, however. And then the last thing for us to do is to set up this final wait node. So let's come over, press the plus, and we will type in wait. We'll get that wait node. 5 seconds is fine for now for testing. In reality, if you're running this as an actual project, you want it to be something like 30 seconds. Excuse me, not 30 seconds, 30 minutes. Or an hour, and it'll run every hour because it'll be set into a loop. And then we're going to create another HTTP request. So just here, you can press plus HTTP request. Get is going to be the method. We're going to fill in the URL in a minute here. The authentication will be none, but under settings, we need to make sure that on error, it continues using error output. We're going to link the error side back to the wait. That's going to create our loop. And then finally, we're going to add the Gmail node. We're going to send a message. And we're going to send it to our test email. You can send it to whatever email you'd like. This would be your client's email. You have your credential, send resources message, operation is send. We can say issue resolved. And then you could say, hi, John. And you could say whatever you want your message to be. The issue is resolved. The website is live again. Yeah, whatever you want the message to be. I'm going to just say, see subject line. Wonderful. and then it is ready to go. And the only thing we need to resolve here is we just need to add our URL. So to do that, we're going to want to run the flow once, which will feed in some of the values that we want. You can also just copy this, which I'm taking from off screen. You can copy that as well, or if you want to run it, I can show you how to do that. Just for the sake of learning, we'll get rid of this, and we'll show you the other way that you can do it. All right, so let's run this. And one other thing we will need to do is to configure this node. So we'll get an error here likely. So let's test this. And we have a couple of things coming through here. Twilio. Again, we have a couple extra items here. We're just gonna have to configure a couple of things. We'll stop that. So you can see this is working. It ran 8 times those 5 seconds. So let's go into this node. You can see json.url wasn't functioning. We want to pull in instead client website. That'll work well. And then down here, we want to pull in actually the same value, client website. And that should work well. And again, there will only be the websites down here that make it through the error node. One of these will be a success because it's an actual live website. The others will not. So let's run that one more time. We'll get all of those things coming through. We're creating tasks in ClickUp and Asana, Gmail. Great, it's running. You can see we got one item on the success, one on the error. The Twilio bot is coming through. The Telegram came through. The email came through. And this will just run, because these are so short, this will run until the website is live. But the website will not be going live anytime soon, so we're going to stop that. But in a live situation, this really would make a difference. It would save you the step of having to confirm with your client that the website is back up. It would just do it automatically. All right, so that is it for you. This is the workflow. It is a definite money saver. It is definitely going to help you to grow your business and to scale your business. And even if you only have one website, this is a helpful automation to have on hand, because having your website go down and not knowing about it will ruin your search engine optimization. It'll hurt business. This is just a valuable flow to have in your back pocket, and you can set it up whether you have a business or not. Even if you just have a blog, this is a valuable automation to have. And again, it only costs, you could set this up for almost free. You just need to pay to have this hosted somewhere, which is inexpensive and also something you can definitely learn. So if you feel like this tutorial delivered a lot of value for you, please subscribe, support our channel, check out our school community where we have a lot of awesome resources, and we will see you in the next one.